Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com. And we're going to start off with a story about a couple of women going toe-to-toe, which should be a really good fight, quite frankly. They've lined up Natasha Jonas and Marie-Eve Dicaire out of Montreal. And they're going to top an exciting bill featuring former Team GB heavyweight hero Fraser Big Fraze Clark and hometown favorite Brad the Sting Rhea. Also topping the bill are Dalton Smith going toe-to-toe against Casey Benjamin. Anyway, this is really good stuff. Let's have a quick look here. I think this is courtesy of Boxer.com. That's BOXXER. Yep, and they're going to fight in Manchester. And they're going to, so Jonas, as it says here in the article, travels across the northwest of England to face Canadian southpaw Dicaire for the World WBC, WBO, IBF, and Ring Magazine titles, which are all on the line in what promises to be a spectacular super welterweight unification fight. And as I said, in the co-main event, unbeaten Sheffield sensation Smith, that's Dalton Smith, defends his British super lightweight championship against bright Birmingham prospect Casey Benjamin. And as I said, Fraser Clark will encounter his toughest test to date against experienced rival Kamil Sokolowski. And Manchester's own Rhea will be keen to entertain the home crowd as he faces English middleweight champ Tyler Denny. Fresh off a stunning first-round stoppage win in his last outing, undefeated cruiserweight prospect Nedal Riley, 6-0, is the latest addition to the all-action boxer event. Manchester card taking place at the AO Arena. That's on Saturday, November 12th, upcoming. Speaking of upcoming, we see that BCB Promotions, our pals over in England, are busy at work. They are announcing Vicky Wilkinson is determined to show her championship credentials by claiming the vacant Midlands super featherweight title against a familiar foe. Area supremacy will be hers if she prevails. Next offering from BCB Promotions at the Hangar Events venue in Wolverhampton on Sunday, November 13th, because she's been paired with Beccy Ferguson. Out of Shrewsbury, but now lives in Stoke. And the two have clashed twice before in 4-round action. Wilkinson made her pro debut against Ferguson last year and outpointed her for a second time in March, taking on Bojana Lebidzewska in between. Apologies for these names I run across while reading these articles, courtesy of boxing247.com. Ferguson pinched around the first time around, but Wilkinson still overcame her through a 40-37 verdict, whitewashing her 40-36 in the return, the same result that beat Lebidzewska. That marked the end of Wilkinson's 4-round apprenticeship, stepping up into 6 rounds in June for a battle where someone's O had to go. It also saw her first trip away from home, tackling the also undefeated Leanne Bush and springing a shock against the home fighter, bringing through a 58-57 scoreline. A shot at the Commonwealth crown came Wilkinson's way last time out in August as she remained unbeaten at the final bell, having completed 10 rounds for the first time. So she traveled to Torquay to take on Christine Shergold for the vacant belt and went the full 10 rounds, with some vastly different opinions on the decision at the final bell. The final result of a majority decision left Wilkinson still unbeaten as a professional, but without the prestige that she believes she's rightly deserved. Her ring return was originally supposed to be a sequel with Shergold, who was forced to pull out of proceedings after contracting COVID. Wilkinson's sights remain set on adding pro honors to the 2 national titles she won as an amateur, representing Darlaston Boxing Club, where she now coaches. She said, "I was disappointed to not be fighting for the Commonwealth title, but to get the opportunity to fight for the first female Midlands title is an honor. I'm looking forward to being back in the ring. I know Beccy is a strong opponent, and I'm going to have to work hard for the win, but I'm ready to go. I feel like I was a bit robbed last time for the Commonwealth title. I thought I was well up in points, and on that I dropped at the most 4 rounds. I left the ring gutted that night. The result baffled me. It just didn't make sense. I boxed differently on the back foot, but Christine Shergold didn't catch me. I barely had a mark on me, and she's such a strong lady. I'd like to know how the judges could have had it as a draw, 95-95, when the other official had it way off in my advantage by 6 rounds, all told, 98-92. I would never show any disrespect to the judges or the crowd, but I have to confess I was throwing my gloves around back in the changing rooms. I was frustrated, and I guess rightly so. But nonetheless, all goes to show you what Mike Gore's been saying since day one. Don't leave it in the hands of the judges. All right, on to our next story. This is coming to us courtesy of someone new. Well, new in my books anyway. On Friday, December 9th, 2022, promoter Nedal Abu Hamoud of Nedal's Promotions, in association with Paco Presents and Sampson Boxing, will proudly present Friday Night Fights, a stacked 9-fight night of world-class professional boxing at the Newton AC in Newton Township, Pennsylvania. In the night's main event, super lightweight contender Showtime Shinard Bunch, who we featured often here on Talkin' Fight, 19-1-1, 60 knockouts, out of Trenton, New Jersey, will go up against Henry Hammer and Hank Lundy. He fights out of Philadelphia. 23-year-old Bunch began boxing at the New York City PAL, where he just when he was just 5 years old, and eventually fought his way into the USA National Amateur Team alongside current world champions Errol Spence and Shakur Stevenson. Bunch first appeared on Showbox The New Generation in July of 2021, fighting into a controversial 10-round split draw with fellow up-and-comer Jenelson Figueroa Bocachiche. Most observers had Bunch winning comfortably. He returns now to the national airwaves with a shutout 8-round unanimous decision over Kazakhstan's Shingai Tijabay in January of this past year. Training is really going good, said Bunch. Lundy's a good veteran. He knows he's coming to fight, but I feel like I'm a complete boxer. I feel like my speed and agility will be too much for him. Fair enough. In the night's 10-round super welterweight co-main event, once beaten Guido Emmanuel Schrammam, 15-1-1 out of Marina, Buenos Aires, Argentina, will have just his second fight in the United States against Mexican veteran Carlos Zatarlin, 16-6-2. The 7-fight undercard will feature several local and international prospects, including unbeaten Trenton native Mike Hilton. He's 11-0, taking on also unbeaten Leonardo Minor, 4-0, and he's fighting out of Ulan, Texas, in a 6-round cruiserweight showdown. There's no A or B side on the bout sheet, said event promoter Nedal Abu Hamoud. That's how my shows are. Everybody gets a good test that lines up with their record, and you just have to sit back and enjoy the action. It's going to be a fun night. Right on. So for those who don't know and who are in the hood, the Newton AC is located at 120 Pheasant Run in Newton, Pennsylvania. There you go. Great night of boxing coming out the Pennsylvania way. All right. Last story of the day features a bit of a controversy. We got Sonny Edwards, who insists Julio Cesar Martinez deserves to be stripped of his WBC title the second he walked away from their unification fight. Martinez and Martinez were deep into negotiations to stage a blockbuster fight in Mexico last month for the IBF and WBC World Flyweight titles. Britain's Edwards had been pushing to make the fight happen for months, but Martinez turned his back on the showdown and instead agreed to face his mandatory challenger, McWilliams Arroyo, in December. Edwards had to quickly put the disappointment of Martinez's withdrawal behind him, and on Friday night at the Pro Belm Sheffield, the man known as Showtime defends his belt against the extremely dangerous Felix Alvarado. But the 26-year-old is adamant that there should be more than his IBF crown on the line at the Utilita Arena this week. Martinez is not a rival of mine. He's a muppet, said Edwards in a scathing attack on the Mexican. I saw him as easy work, but I was trying to sell it as being my hardest fight to date. The WBC title should be vacant, and it should be on the line for me and Alvarado on November 11th. Martinez was paying step-aside money to be an overdue mandatory challenger, and then he pulled out of the fight. Whoever is advising Martinez has told him to stay a million miles away from Sonny Edwards. He has avoided me like the plague. And for me, Martinez is done in the division now. Ooh-wee. Harsh words. All right. Edwards wants to land a big-time fight with Jesse Bam Rodriguez in 2023 and had invited the U.S. star to be at ringside in Sheffield this week. But the charismatic champion knows he cannot afford to overlook the hard-hitting Alvarado, who was previously an IBF title holder at light flyweight. Edwards concludes, I've become one of the most avoided fighters in world boxing, but Felix Alvarado has the courage to face me on November 11th, and that makes him an extremely dangerous opponent. I have good plans to become the undisputed flyweight world champion and then move through the weights, and I'm totally confident that will happen. But there's no room for error against a fighter of Alvarado's caliber, that's for sure. All right, fight fans, thank you for joining me here on Talkin' Fight. I appreciate it very much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you later on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time when we join Mike or Cedric Ben on Knuckle Up.